This dude has how many cards in the hand? There's 17 cards in the deck. Look at this hand. Look at this hand. Look at this hand. Cannot special summon except Link monsters, and we have the Link monster zones locked up. And that's a scoop. What is the U-Link, or also known as the Extra Link? This is, many refer to this as a first turn kill, because if you achieve the U-Link, you essentially win the duel. Why so? Because you are taking control of both extra monster zones, which means they cannot link summon. Well, they could still exceed, they could still synchro, right? Well, not with this deck. With the Code Talker deck, we're going to give them a card called Ibly. Ibly is going to say that when you control this card, which we're giving to our opponent, you can only link summon. And if you could only link summon when we have control of both extra monster zones, then you're not able to special summon at all. So let's walk you through the combo and the plays and what to do.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
Now, for the first highlight, this is not going to be a standard way to achieve the U-Link, the Extra Link, but I'm going to walk you through it. The number one card you want to focus on to achieve the Extra Link is Cynet Codec. This is a continuous spell that will continually search your deck for an attribute Cyburst monster of what you summon on the field. That's a code link. So this will activate more than once per turn, over and over and over. Now, how do you get to the Cynet Codec? Well, you either draw it because you're going to play 3, or you use Microcoder. When you send Microcoder to the graveyard for a link summon, it will search for your Cynet Codec. So looking at my hand, do I have the Cynet Codec? I do not. Do I have the Microcoder? I do not. But I have Cynet Mining, and I also have Lady Debug. These are 2 cards that could search my Microcoder. Now, to perform the Extra Link, you need to have a Cynet Codec on the field, and you need to be able to summon a Transcode Talker. So this is not enough right here. We're going to use the Cynet Mining to search for a card. Let's get searching. Let's activate the Cynet Mining. Discarding the Ladybug. We're getting max seed. Now, guess what? I'm so confident that this deck is so powerful that he could draw 100 cards and it will not matter. So I'm not going to negate the max C. I'm just going to allow it. Just allow it. And I'm going to hold on to my Call by the Grave, hold on to my Cross Out Designate. So we're going to discard Ladybug, which a lot of people are going to go, what the hell? Now we have Microcoder. So how do we make a Transcode Talker, which requires 3 monsters to make with only 2? Well, Dotscaper, when sent to the graveyard, special summons onto the field. It's an extender. It's like a +2 extender. And the Microcoder has the ability to link summon from the hand. So let's initiate that. We're going to normal summon. We're going to link summon just to trigger the Microcoder. And a good card to summon will be the Code Talker. That's the name of the deck. Very good. That's going to trigger the Microcoder, and the Dotscaper are going to be summoned. Now, a lot of people who have memorized this combo are freaking out right now because the Dotscaper is a very important card to have in your deck to use along later in the combo. But I'm going to show you the non-standard way, then I'll show you a standard way to do this combo. So we're going to search for the Cynet Codec, we're going to activate it, and now we're going to make the Transcode Talker. Now, you can't search the same attribute that you already searched. So our goal right now is to summon an Earth Talker to search for an Earth monster, to summon a Light Talker to search for a Light monster, to summon a Wind monster to search for a Wind. Now, what's very important about the Earth, Light, and Wind is they search for a double value card. The double value card that Transcode Talker searches for is going to be the Code Generator. Not only does it assist in a link summon, but it sends a monster to the graveyard that can be special summoned. So it's double value. And then the Inverted will also be a double value card that you search for. It's going to search for a Mud, the Skipper, the 4-Mud Skipper. Not only does it assist in a link summon, but also searches for another monster, so that's double value. And then the double value of the Xcode Talker is searching for a Parallel Exceed. which summons onto the field, then summons another copy from the deck. So these are the double value talkers that you want to summon. Now, if you summon a shooting code talker, which is the water talker, that's not a double value. It's only going to be a single value. You're going to search for a single monster that will just be a single summon. So do focus on the double value of the wind, light, and transcode talker. And generally, you want to summon the transcode talker first under Cynet Codec. Let's search. Here we go. We got the code generator. We're going to activate the transcode talker to summon our code talker back on the field. Now, we want to think here, how do we create the extra link? Well, with this deck, if we get an arrow pointing up, an arrow pointing left, and an arrow pointing over here, basically if we have just a monster in the middle and on the right pointing up and to the left, that's going to allow us to perform the full U-Link. The only way to summon in the other extra monster zone is you need a full arrow to fully be pointing there. You can't just have one monster pointing up and then nothing in the middle. So we are going to have to create a full U in order to get access to the extra monster zone, which, as I'm saying, the priority is just to get these two monsters to point up and left, and then we'll do the rest, okay? Freaking Nibiru, we're going to negate that. Negate Nibiru. Now, if you open up with the Ibli, they can't Nibiru you. So this is anti-Nibiru if you open up with Ibli. Otherwise, I'm using Crossout Designate to negate. Very good, banishing my own Nibiru. And you want to think here, what can we link off into? Well, the inverted's not going to be so good here because we're going to need a monster in the hand to activate its effect. We'll talk about that in a second. The Xcode Talker is a good idea if you can make use of the Parallel Exceed. To make use of the Parallel Exceed, you have to perform a link summon. Well, if I have a Parallel Exceed and an Xcode Talker on the fields, I'm not going to be able to perform a link summon here because I already used up my Dotscaper. My Dotscaper would be the way to trigger my Parallel Exceed. And that's what a lot of people memorize here. And now I'm going to have to change things up. I'm going to instead save my Xcode Talker for a later play. All right, code generator being used with the code talker to make a shooting code talker. Now, remember, I told you this is going to be only a 1+ value, not 2+ value. It's okay. It's going to search for a water monster, and the code generator is going to send a monster to the graveyard that we want to get the extra value out of. Now, you normally are going to send your Dotscaper, but because we already did, we're going to send another monster that special summons from the grave, but there's a big problem. This card will only special summon from the grave if I have nothing in the extra monster zones. So I need to get the transcode talker out of the extra monster zone in order to special summon the Sigma. Now, if I searched for a Parallel Exceed here, my combo would have been done. And that's what a lot of people have memorized to do, and they'd be screwed right now. So let's search for our water monster. This is going to banish a card from the graveyard to special summon. It's just a single monster to get on the field. And remember, I need to get rid of my extra monster zone, so I'm going to use the transcode talker and the Scriptron to get out of the extra monster zone. I'm going to link off into an access code talker. Now remember, all we needed is an arrow up, an arrow left, and an arrow to the far left, and now we could perform the full U-Link just from this. We could, but we're going to now build up upon this and see how exactly we do that. This will trigger the codec onto the talker to search for a dark monster. This is how you search for the Ibli. Now, normally, you're not going to be summoning an access code talker. We had to change up our player bit because if we instead summoned a code talker, that's only an arrow up and an arrow down. We have to connect the railroad to make the U. So access code talker was just the perfect card to summon here. Now we're going to search. Don't worry about the script on. That's doing nothing. We're going to boost up our access code talker. We're going to be boosted. We are under max C right now. Search, search, search. Holy moly, so many card effects. Let's resolve this. Now we got the Ibli. Ibli has no special effect to summon herself onto the fields. We're going to have to special summon her through another way. And finally, now that we have no extra monster zones, I can activate my Sigma from the graveyard to special summon on the fields. Special summon. So what do we want to do here? We want to think of a way to get the Ibli onto the fields. We also want to make use of our other code talkers. I want to make use of inverted to get that double value. I want to make use of my Xcode talker to get use of that double value search. So let's build upon this, we are going to make the inverted. Inverted is going to be double value and only activatable if you have a monster in your hand. If you played against this in the TCG, I promise you someone cheated you, because this is not activatable if they don't have a Cyburst in the hand. You have to activate this as Chainlink 1. And a lot of people, if they have a card in their hand that's not a Cyburst, they're going to activate it and cheat you because they're going to search the Cyburst they want to summon. That's the cheat. Can't do it in Master Duel, though. So you have to chainlink to the Codec because we're going to summon that monster. That monster is going to be the 4-Mud Skipper. And then you never really get to see what the Cyburst card was in their hand unless they searched it, which was the requirement to activate this card. Again, a big cheat in the TCG. Now, this Skipper is going to be double value. Not only will it help us link summon, but it's going to search for another monster to link summon, so that's double value. Now here, we have a very important card we want to summon. The most important card of this combo is probably the Talkback Lancer. This has a strict requirement of a level 2 or lower Cyburst monster in order to summon it. Normally, you're going to use your Skipper to summon the Lancer because that's going to be one of your best cards. But in this situation, I can't go right into the Talkback Lancer because I need to get my Ibli on the field. So we're solving a duel puzzle here within our own duel. So instead of using it for the Talkback Lancer, I'm going to use it for my other double value. Our 3 double value talkers that we summon from the extra deck are Transcode Talker, Inverted, and the Xcode Talker. We have not summoned this one yet, and we want to focus on summoning this. So let's summon that. And there's the Xcode Talker. That's going to search for our Parallel Exceed. And the 4-Mud Skipper is going to be searching for a Gotchi. Gotchi's great. It's going to special summon onto the field, and then when sent to the graveyard, we'll make one of your monsters unaffected for 2 turns. And look at this hand. Look at this hand. All right, search in for the Parallel Exceed. Now, it's very important that we have a way to make a link summon to trigger the Parallel Exceed. We can't summon the Ibli. We can't summon the Parallel Exceed. We have nothing activatable in the graveyard. We have the Gotchi. So we got to summon the Gotchi, and then that's going to be our link summon to trigger the Parallel Exceed. And we also still want a way to summon the Ibli, because when we summon it, we're going to put it on their field. So let's focus on that. Gotchi, special summon by targeting a Cyburst. Very good. It negates it, but we don't worry about that. And now this is going to be our link summon. We are going to link into a Firewall Dragon. Firewall Dragon is going to help summon our Ibli from the hand and trigger our Parallel Exceed. So let's do that. Firewall Dragon, triggering the effect of the Gotchi in the graveyard to make Firewall completely unaffected by other card effects for 2 turns, and the Parallel Exceed is going to come forth and summon. It's very important the Parallel Exceed has to summon where the link monster is pointing to. So if you were to summon a monster that pointed just up and down, there's nowhere for the Parallel Exceed to summon. It can't summon in the extra, it can't summon in the back row. There has to be an open arrow for the Parallel Exceed, which normally you'll summon a monster here that points downward, which will be the Talkback Lancer, and that's where the Parallel Exceed will go. But we had to fix things up. So let's activate. Let's summon another monster from the deck. Perfect. And now we got double Parallel Exceed in the fields. We're going to make a Link Devotee. Why did I make this? Because now I need a monster that's the Firewall's pointing to be sent to the graveyard to trigger its effect. Its effect that is triggered is going to summon the Ibli from the hand. So the Firewall just saw the Parallel Exceed go to the grave, and that's all I wanted to trigger here, to then summon the Ibli. Now we could summon the Ibli with the effect of the Firewall Dragon. Now, it's very important when you summon a Link Devotee that you know that you're not going to summon any Link 3s or 4s for the rest of the turn, because that's the restriction. When you summon this, you're now stuck to Link 2 or lower from the extra deck. Now, the most important card here to finish off the extra link is the Talkback Lancer, which requires a level 2 or lower Cyburst. We now have that. The Ibli is the level 2 or lower Cyburst that can be summoned. So let's summon that. We almost have the U-Link here. All right, come forth. Show Con is the Talkback Lancer. Talkback Lancer is going to tribute a Cyburst to summon a monster from the graveyard. And this is how we kind of cheat the extra link, because we're going to use the Talkback Lancer to tribute a small monster to then summon a Link 3 from the graveyard. It could be an Xcode Talker, it could be the Shooting Code, it could be the Transcode. It's going to be one of those that we'll summon. Now, the Ibli, when sent to the graveyard, is going to summon onto your opponent's side of the field, which now my opponent cannot special summon except Link monsters, which means they could use the extra monster zone to just Link summon and they're okay. We need to summon a monster there so they could not use a Link summon. Now, let's finish off our play. Let's tribute off the Link Devotee, and we're going to summon a Transcode Talker. Transcode Talker, look, we got the arrows. Arrow down, arrow up, arrow right, arrow left, arrow right, arrow left, arrow up. That is the full Link, and you cheat it out at the end. Remember I said all we needed was these two monsters to point up, left, and then the Talkback Lancer would cheat out the other part by summoning a Link 3 from the graveyard. So now all we're going to have to do is summon a Link in that spot. Let's summon a Link in that spot, and we're going to make the Salman Great Bale Links. This is going to search for an actual important field spell. So I'm going to negate the Ash. Ash Blossom, get out of here. Get out. You are negated. Now we flame in. Now we got the full extra Link. And not only do we have the full extra Link, the Transcode Talker is boosting up the monsters it's pointing to in itself, and they're untargetable by card effects. The Firewall is protected from all other card effects because of the Gotchi that we used for the Link summon. The Firewall can also, whenever we want, once while face up, return 2 cards on the field or in the graveyard back to the hand. It's going to be monsters. And we also are going to have the field spell, so get ready for that. What's the field spell good for? You're about to see. So I'm going to do a dual puzzle for you. We're going to summon a Bale Links over the Bale Links because it has a graveyard effect. Now, this is their situation. They have like 20 cards in their hand. Holy crap. Only 12 cards left in the deck. What's that, 28 cards in the hand? That's insane. Now, if you were on the opposing side, you're thinking, how do I get rid of the Ibli? Well, a really good way is going to be just attacking my monster. And then main phase 2, do your special summoning. That is what you should do. Because right now, the Ibli says you cannot special summon except Link monsters. So activating the boot sector launch, and they're going, Keck, wait, it won't let me special summon. Activating Chaos Space, you're not going to be able to special summon any Chaos monsters. They are not Link monsters. Normal summoning the Rocket Tracer. Rocket Tracer could special summon a monster from the deck, realizes you can't even activate that. So it looks like we're going into battle. If they could just break one of my extra Links, then they could be able to link off the Ibli or just destroy the Ibli by battle, and then they're going to be able to special summon. Ibli going in. Now, this is where the field spell is going to reduce our own monster to 0. This card is ridiculous. In Salamangreat, you never really reduce your own monster to 0. There's no good reason to, usually. But in this, when they're trying to attack with the Ibli into any monster, by the way, it's not just the Salamangreat, any monster we could reduce to 0. Well, we now have a problem. We reduced ourselves to 0, and he's got another monster. He could still attack into us and destroy one of our extra monster zones. Well, we have 2 ways to play around that. The Firewall Dragon can return the other monster back to the hand, or you'll see. Uh-oh. Bale Links in the graveyard, banishing from the grave to protect a card on the field. The Salamangreat field spell gets protected, or the Bale Links on the field gets protected by banishing the Bale Links in the graveyard. Remember, we summoned a Bale Links over Bale Links, so we had destruction protection from a Harpy Feather Duster or them attacking into the Bale Links. We reduced the Bale Links to 0, and now they're in main phase 2. They're stuck. Their main strategy was to swing in, to kill the Ibli or kill one of my extra monster zones. Look at that hand blow up. Look at that hand blow up. Can I still move it? Oh my Jesus. That's a scoop. That's a scoop. Now I'm going to show you the standard way to make the U-Link. This is the way that a lot of people have memorized. This is the easier way to do it. The problem with the last hand is we had a Dotscaper in our hand, which made us have to make crazy and funky plays. So we're going to do this quick, and let's go. We are just trying to trigger the Codec and make a Transcode Talker here. So first we're going to make the Code Talker, which will search for an Ibli. And the microcoder is an extra search. I put it on Chainlink 2 because I wanted to bait an Ash Blossom. I'm just trying to bait it. We're under Max C again, by the way. Cynet Conflict, don't worry about this. This is an Omni Negate, which you're rarely going to use. I think I took it out even. So now I got an Ibli. Normally we'll search the Ibli later in the combo. Now that we've got the Transcode Talker, that's going to trigger the Cynet Codec to search for the double value generator. And then we're going to summon the Code Talker from the graveyard. We're going to use the generator and the Code Talker to make the Xcode Talker. In my last play, I didn't make this play because we had no way to trigger the Parallel Exceed. So your goal is, can I trigger the Parallel Exceed? Yes, I can, because I'm going to send a Dotscaper from the deck to the graveyard with the generator. And that's what we could not have done last time. So now that we have the Dotscaper in the graveyard, it's going to trigger when sent to the grave, special summoning, and then we want to think about triggering the Parallel Exceed. Dotscaper, come forth. We want to get the monster out of the extra zone so that we could use the left zone and make sure we're pointing up. So we start with the extra monster zone, then we get it out of there so that we could point up to it to use that way to get to it. Because if we don't have anything pointing to the other monsters, extra monster zone, we could still summon in it as long as this one is not occupied. So we want to occupy it, then unoccupy it, and then occupy the other while pointing up to the original zone. Does that make sense? We're going to make it inverted, which is only activatable if you have a Cyberse in the hand. This must be Chainlink 1 because we need to summon the monster we search. There's another double value. We're not going to summon the Parallel Exceed. This is where you could screw up. If you summon Parallel Exceed here, you done goof, because the inverted must summon the monster to where it's pointing to, and this must summon to where the link monster is pointing to. So this will occupy the arrow, which means we can't summon what we search. So do not Parallel Exceed. Very good. We're going to grab the Skipper. Skipper is going to be double value. It's going to be special summoned. We're going to link off into the Lancer. The Lancer requires a level 2 or lower Cyberse. This will trigger the Parallel Exceed. This is when we want to summon it. Skipper is going to be doing its double value by searching a monster we could use for a link summon. Special summon the Parallel Exceed. Parallel Exceed was the double value from the Talker. The inverted double value was with the Skipper, and the Transcode Talker double value was with the generator sending the Dotscaper. Those are the 3 cards that give you double value that you want to summon. All right, Parallel, come forth and summon. And now I'm going to link those off into a Code Talker. This is where you would trigger your Cynet Codec if you did not already to search for your Ibli. All right, this would be the way. Now we're going to summon the Gotchi, and I'm going to use the Gotchi and the Xcode Talker to make our Firewall Dragon. The Firewall Dragon needs to see a monster alongside it, go to the graveyard so that it could summon the Ibli. So if you were to make plays with the Code Talker and the inverted early before summoning the Firewall, you're going to done goof, because you need the Firewall to see a monster it's pointing to go to the grave. So you got to summon the Firewall out. All right. Now that the Firewall's out, we're going to make it unaffected by everything with the Gotchi. Gotchi, making it unaffected. And we're going to make a Mekk-Knight Crusadia. Do not summon Mekk-Knight Crusadia on the right, because it doesn't have an arrow up. It only has an arrow to the left and the right. So that's why you have to summon it in the middle if you want to summon this. This card's great. It makes it so your other monsters cannot be attacked to. It also cannot be targeted. And that's going to trigger the Firewall because 2 cards were sent to the grave. Now it's going to special summon a Cyberse from the hand, which will be the Ibli. Come forth, Ibli. Ibli will be needed to make a Talkback Lancer. Otherwise, if you already have the Talkback Lancer, we're going to make something else. We're going to make a Devotee. Devotee is going to restrict us to link 2 and lower only for the rest of this turn. The Ibli is going to summon onto their turn, so they get only special summon link monsters. Come forth and special summon. And now the Devotee is going to use its main effect. When you tribute it, it's going to summon 2 tokens. The Talkback Lancer is going to special summon a Transcode or an Xcode from the graveyard. The Xcode will make it so you cannot be destroyed by card effects. The Transcode will make it so you cannot be targeted. So the Crusadia is already untargetable, but it's not indestructible by a Raigeki or a Lightning Storm. So I'm going to opt in for the Xcode Talker instead. The Devotee is going to summon 2 tokens. And we're pretty much done. We're going to make a Bale Links, search the field spell. But it gets negated. That sucks. Because you saw in the other replay, we need the field spell for them swinging in. Oh well. That happens. But we're still incredibly restrictive here. Just going to make another Bale Links. Why not? All right. Forbidden Chalice. That's a way to out this combo. If you could Droplet tribute the Ibli, if you could tribute summon over the Ibli, or if you could Chalice the own Ibli, then the effect of making it so you can't special summon except link monsters will be negated. I'm going to negate that, because what the hell is that, mate? Come on, let's go. Negate. This dude has how many cards in the hand? There's 17 cards in the deck. Look at this hand. Look at this hand. Look at this hand. Cannot special summon except Link monsters, and we have the Link monster zones locked up. And that's a scoop. Didn't even think to attack into me, which most people will not even know to do. And even if they do, you still have the firewall to return. They have to attack into the Crusadia. They can't even attack into the other monsters. Let's go. Now that you saw the power of Cynet Codec searching your deck continually throughout the entire turn, what does the deck do when you don't have the Cynet Codec? You do play 3. You do have the 3 coder to also search it. You also have the 3 Cynet mining to search for the coder. And you also have 3 Lady Debug to search for the microcoder. So that's 3, 6, 9. You essentially play 12 codecs, but still, there will be games where you don't open up the codec like this one. Now, what should we do? We're just going to get Lincoln off. This is going to be our general extra deck of what to do. We're going to get the Ibli out. And I'm going to link it off because my flyer needs to summon to where a link is pointing to. The Ibli is going to special summon to the opponent's field, which means now we can't get impermanence because they're going to control a monster. Holy crap, Psyframe Gear Gamma is going to negate my Parallel Exceed, and that sucks. Parallel Exceed was going to give me a lot of value on this first turn despite not having the codec. Your opponent also cannot special summon Nibiru when we give them the Ibli. That sucks. Give them the Ibli. Ooh, I drew a droplet. So we're just searching the field spell. This does not matter here. Come forth, Ibli. And now we're protected from Nibiru. Nibiru protection. I'm going to activate the field spell, non-porn. I'm going to special summon an extender. We're going to link off into a Splash Mage. Splash Mage is a very good card when you're going second or if you don't have the codec because it's going to help you link up, rank up link into your transcode talker. So we're going to summon the Parallel Exceed. I'm going to activate it even though it's negated. We're going to Transcode Talker, which will summon a monster from the graveyard. Now, this is very important because I have limited cards here. I'm going to try to make my Crusadia. The Crusadia is going to be a very good turn 1 card. It is not targetable. If it battles a special summon monster, it's going to get boosted. And if it's sent to the graveyard, you'll shuffle a card your opponent controls back in the deck without targeting. The problem is, your monsters have to be special summoned from the extra deck to make the Crusadia. The Bale Links was summoned from the grave, so it does not count. But the Bale Links search for the field spell, which allows me to use the Bale Links for another Bale Links to use it from the extra deck. So let's do that. So I need the field spell effect to make another Bale Links, and now I can make the Crusadia. This is going to be a good turn 1. If you could summon Crusadia turn 1 if you don't have the codec, that's what I recommend. It's not the best play, but it's pretty decent. And remember, the Ibli's still restricting them. They cannot summon anything that's not a link. They can't special summon. So this is a pendulum deck. He's not going to be able to special summon. Go, 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 go. Focus, focus, focus. He's doing all these wild pendulum searches. And then he realized he has to attack in. Guess what? I'm going to reduce my Crusadia to 0. You are not going to pendulum summon. I don't think so. Going to summon, realizes, Keck, wait, I have no link monsters in my extra deck. I don't have Anaconda. I got nothing. Okay, let's go. The field spell helped out so much. It's great. Hey, I got the codec now. Now I can make some crazy plays with the codec. I'm going to summon my Ibli. Now, Ibli has another crazy effect. If you summon her and you have a link in the graveyard, you could special summon a link monster from the grave. Holy crap. So this is, Ibli turns into a 1-card access code talker. 1-card access code talker, and he's scooping. I'm out. Now, I taught you how to perform the U link, also known as the extra link. I taught you what play to generally make if you don't have the Cynet codec. Now I'm going to show you a 1-turn kill. We're going to 1-turn kill our opponent. They're going to go first, and then we're going to respond by killing them in 1 turn. Welcome back. This is their field. They have double monster negate. They have a disruption. They can return any of my cards back to my hand. And that back row, I'm just going to reveal it. It's an impermanence. So that's 3 negates plus return anything. And we have to win this turn. Why? Because I said so. Let's win this turn. All right. We're going to special summon to where a link arrow is pointing. And now he's going to max C. Now we're under freaking max C. I'm going to Call by the Grave it. Now, a lot of people may be thinking, Call by the Grave, you should save that for the Ancient Warriors. Ancient Warriors don't always send themselves. They could send the Tenki, which means the Call by the Grave will not negate. I'm not going to allow this to happen. Another option is to purposely use your Call by the Grave in the middle to tempt their impermanence. If you tempt them to use it, then they're not going to negate another play, all right? So let's activate that. We're going to negate the Max C. I don't want him drawing into an Ash Blossom. I really don't want that. I want to make plays without disruption. Now I have to bait these negates and disruptions. So I'm going to link from the hand into a Code Talker, going to activate the Codec, and I'm going to chain block so I don't get Ash Blossomed here. I'm going to Parallel Exceed, which is a very good negate. He should negate this. Okay. My Parallel Exceed is now dead. I can only use the effect once per turn. That sucks. Feels bad. All right, Cynet Codec is going to search. We have not normal summoned yet, so normal summoning is going to be a play that we could do. I'm going to link off with the microcoder to come forth and summon a transcode talker. Now the codec is going to activate and the microcoder is going to activate. I'm not chain blocking the coder because I want to bait a negate. I want to bait it. I hope it gets negated because I don't really need the microcoder search because I already have the codec. Jebaited. Now, if I played the Salamangreats, that would have been a really good negate, but I don't play the Salamangreats in this version that I'm playing right now, so it wasn't even a good negate. Now, the Ancient Warrior is going to return my Transcode Talker before I could summon a monster from the graveyard, so we're really screwed. I'm screwed. We're still going to one-turn kill. And they still have impermanence. So now their disruption, their double negate, it's gone. I have my normal summon. My Parallel Exceed's been used. I can't use it again. They have an impermanence. I'm going to normal summon, special summon my Gachi. I'm going to Shokan into Inverted. Inverted is going to search my deck and special summon. I'm going to use the codec to add the card that we want to special summon. Impermanence getting freaking negated. This is ridiculous. How am I still going to win? How? Wait, do I win this? I don't know. I don't know. Codec's going to search, though. Codec will search. The Inverted will not special summon. I'm going to grab a Converter since I'm not going to be... My normal summon's been used. The Inverted's not going to special summon the monster, so I'm going to search a monster that I could special summon by itself. All right, negated, special summon. We're going to link off into a Transcode Talker. That's going to trigger the Codec. Codec is going to search for the Transcode Talker, our generator. We're going to special summon the Inverted back onto the field. I'm going to use the Inverted and the generator to link off into an Xcode Talker. Xcode Talker is going to search for a wind monster, and the generator is going to send a monster from the deck to the graveyard. I also locked up his field zones here. Not that that matters. His monster zones, that is. Search, search, search. Another Parallax. It's a wasted search. I can't even use this. Generator sending a Dotscaper. Dotscaper, when sent to the graveyard, is going to special summon onto the field. I'm going to Shokan into Access Code Talker, mate. Let's go. Triple negate. Return my monster back, and we still win. Pop it, pop it. Talker is untargetable right now, and boosted by the Transcode Talker. Let's do it. Now, while you're looking at my deck, I'm going to pin the deck type breakdown for Code Talkers so that you can build your own version. Generally, I built it by looking at the usage stats of successful decks doing well in tournaments and getting Platinum 1. I recently added in the Salamangreat engine. I haven't tested it too much, but it's a really good extender if you have a Cynet mining to use. And then looking at the extra deck, that's great. A lot of people are not playing the Crusadia. It's not even on the analytics, but I think the Crusadia is really good if you don't have a Codec turn 1. So that is the deck. I am playing triple Designator, double Call by the Grave. I really want to be negating their Ash Blossom. Max C, I don't really care that much. And also negating a Nibiru if I don't have the Ibli early. That's also very good. Negating an Impermanence with the Crossout Designate. That's the deck. That's the tutorial. Let's go.